And you recently wrote an article noting that there was a disproportionate amount of women on the Computer Weekly's list of the most influential women in UK IT that work in the public sector.
Yeah.
Why is this telling, given what you just said?
It's really interesting, isn't it? I mean, there are some political answers to that question, which might involve, for example, the lower demands placed on people in the public sector, the fact that the public sector is much more willing to make allowances for things like maternity leave. It doesn't threaten your career as dramatically, as damagingly in the public sector if you're a woman and you want kids, but you also want to do your job. I think more allowances are made. In a way, the public sector can do that because of the resources at its disposal, i.e. all of our taxes. Businesses don't always have those advantages. And I think, partly as I was saying, women do sometimes choose not to be part of that, red in tooth and claw entrepreneurial or boardroom environment. But also sometimes, there probably is a bit of a bias in hiring in some businesses because business owners do worry when they're overburdened with regulation and taxation about all of the legal requirements that are placed upon them if a woman does decide that she wants to have a child 3 years into her role. It's not something that I've encountered yet running my business, but I certainly expect to. I would hope that I would hire the very best person for the job, no matter what the circumstance. But I could well understand people who are reticent to hire a woman who is in perhaps her early 20s, who in 3 or 4 years' time, as you're just looking to promote her to run a division of the business, suddenly decides she wants to have a family. And the business has to pay for that, or at least some of it. And in addition, hire somebody else and retrain them. And so you may well end up with a situation either in which you have to promote internally someone who was the second choice for the job because the woman was better, or you have to hire someone externally, which is phenomenally expensive when you're already paying a maternity salary. So I can well understand why people are reticent about hiring women for certain sorts of positions, particularly the ones in which there's a fairly well mapped out kind of promotion path. But yeah, I think the public sector perhaps accommodates that balanced lifestyle I was talking about earlier a little bit better than the private sector does.